If you're from Buffalo, are you a Buffalonian? A Buffaloan? A Buffalite? Bison. This goes out to all of the Buffalonians, and this is how we're feeling right now. Buffalo! And away we go.
You're listening to Live on Four Legs, the live Pearl Jam podcast experience, featuring
Mr. Stone Gossard. Fucking Cameron in the drum. Mr. Boom Gasper. You can call me Al, you can call me Ed, you just fucking call me, why don't you?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live on Four Legs, the definitive live Pearl Jam podcast, and we're here for another episode today. It's Buffalo 2013. Randy Sobel here, and John Farrar over there, as my co-host. How are you doing, John?
I'm good, man. We've been digging into 2013 a lot lately.
Yeah, last couple weeks, 2013. Last week, Voodoo Fest. That was fun, and we keep on the lightning bolt, but that's it's October, and when we're in October, and we're kind of feeling nostalgic, and we're feeling like we have to kind of live the anniversaries a little bit.
And this one too. I mean, I think we might have mentioned it last week. This 2013 tour, like looking back on it, it was great. I mean, there are a lot of great shows, a lot of great runs of shows. They brought out some stuff, and they were just in a great mood every night. Band was in good spirits, and you get a lot of great shows on this tour. Looking back on it, 6-7 years later.
Yeah, this was you're right. This was a really good tour from start to finish, and today's episode is the start of the tour, and then they would kind of move on over to the West Coast at some point. But the whole thing, it just seems like every single night they were either changing it up a little bit, and we'll talk about it in this one. This was really the start of every night being a 3-song open, more of a slow burn. So that, before that, we saw that at Wrigley that year, and that was more like a 7-song slow burn. But before that, it was only being used at Mansfield, Gorge, and, other big shows. We didn't
for special
expect
occasions.
That. Right. We didn't expect that stadium shows arena shows were going to have them.
And they're working on pacing. Ed's voice, even in 2013, wasn't what it was. So I think they were kind of learning how to expand, and this 2018 tour, they kind of shortened up the set list to a lot of 27, 28, 29 song sets instead of the 32, 33, 34. So I think for 2013 tour, they were really trying to stretch it out a little more, trying to do 30, 31, 32 every night.
But they had to fill in a lot more time, because this was the first time that really there were no openers for them.
Right.
At least for arena shows.
You get the An Evening with Pearl Jam, where they're starting, it says 8 o'clock. They would probably go on around 8:20, 8:30 and play till... Yeah.
Sometimes 8:45.
On a good night. Play till 11:30, so yeah, they were coming into their own as the, they call it the legacy act, but who were they really going to take out in 2013? Who was around?
I wouldn't even be able to answer that question today.
Yeah.
So it is very tough. Before we get into breaking down the show and all that fun stuff, just wanted to mention, of course, we have our Patreon account that we mention every week. And for all subscribers, you guys get exclusive content that you can only get on Patreon. You can't get it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud or even our Facebook pages or anything like that. The Evolution episodes, the early ones that Matt and I did on New Year's Eve, and I was about to say Easy Street, but no, Easy Street's not there. That is
hashtag free Easy Street.
That's a vault release.
Let it out.
For maybe for Record Store Day 2020, we'll see if we're able.
Well,
to get it.
there's a little bit of Record Store Day Black Friday news, so maybe we can push it out for that.
Maybe, yeah. Let's see if Matt remembers to get it to me, then I'll be able to cook something up. It'll be a nice little surprise.
Hold on, let me do my little thing. Hello, Matt. Come down, Matt. Maybe that's I put out the bat signal, so maybe he'll come around on that one.
We'll see. Well, let's hope for it. Let's hope for it.
I'll just re-record it with what I thought he would have said.
Just fill in all the blanks.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Patreon is all available there, patreon.com/live-on4legs. Anything you contribute to the podcast, we try to give as much back to you. John, what do they get for contributing to the show?
You get everything for $1 a month or whatever you can contribute. Access to everything, plus you get to pick an episode, come on the show, and I will threaten to fight you about your dumb opinions.
That is worth the $1, friends.
Yeah,
that is worth the $1.
We had the great episode last week. I didn't think I was going to have to do it, but then he started talking about daughter, and then I had to break it out.
It was a 2-on-1. You were outnumbered. You would have lost.
Oh, bring it on! I'm not afraid of you.
I'm a little afraid of you. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anybody.
I've got Waffles on my side. She's got my back.
All right, we'll tag team. I'll get Gordy, and we'll see who wins this battle.
Right.
And also, we have to drop in every now and again. Email us liveon4legspodcast@gmail.com. We're always taking ideas and requests for stories, for new episodes, shows that you went to that you think that we should cover or are unique that we haven't discussed yet, maybe eras that we really haven't touched up on yet. There are still eras that we kind of have glanced over that, look.
Yeah, even if you're not a patron, like, if there's a show that you went to that you think was underrated or that nobody ever talks about, yeah, you send us an email. What was the email address again?
liveon4legspodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect. Yeah. Send us an email. We'll, we love getting emails, stories from people. So hit us up and we'll definitely get back to you.
And there have been people that have emailed us, and this was early on when we didn't, have a plethora of guests looking to come on the show. But we were able to get some stories on, and we were able to do certain shows because people wrote in and people were nice enough to share. So, it's always good, and we're always willing, even if we have a game plan, we're always willing to change every now and again. So you send us your story, and we'll take it into heavy consideration. So that brings us into Buffalo 2013. I was almost going to say 2010. 2013. Wrong album. So I was at the show and went to Wrigley that past year. The tour was about to start, and there was so much hype. Everybody was really excited for it, and I was completely excited for it. The album was really good at the time. I was really enjoying it.
Because they only premiered Mind Your Manners at Wrigley, right? That was the only one?
No, Mind Your Manners was out before Wrigley, and then they did Lightning Bolt and Future Days.
Okay. Yeah,
so there was the 3, and I actually from a friend of mine, DJ, I was actually able to get a couple extra tracks. I think he sent me Let the Records Play, Swallowed Whole, and Getaway. I don't know how he was able to get them, but I was able to get some extra tracks before the
promotional
album.
disc or something, probably. Yeah, cool.
Something like that. Yeah. So I know DJ has listened to the show before, so if he's listening, what's up? Shout out to DJ and Season. So Buffalo happened because, again, the tour hype was at a fever pitch. Everybody was, talking about merch and starting to talk about what's the set list we're going to be like. And I kept looking at it, and I had the Brooklyn shows and I had the Hartford show all planned, and it was the weekend before. I said to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm really itching to go. Where are they the weekend before? Are they playing on a Saturday night? And it turns out Buffalo was the Saturday night show. And I'm like, you know what? I can do that. That's a 6-hour drive. I can make that happen. This could be worth my while. And so I went on, I want to say it was like the Wednesday or Thursday of that week, and decided to buy tickets off of StubHub. And that was it. That's how easy it was. It was, tickets were available. It wasn't, I'm sure it was a sold out show, but it's not like MSG or, or Philly where you have to kind of sell a kidney in order to get there. It was pretty easy. So, 6-hour car ride up to Buffalo, and man, it just felt like it all happened in a flash. It was just kind of, it was an exciting time, and especially because I knew what lied ahead with the other shows too. Everything was just really, really exciting.
Nice. Now you had kind of a unique vantage point at this show. You want to talk about that a little bit? Is that something you'd done before?
No, I don't think at that point I had, because almost every show on that tour I was behind the stage. So I was stone side. I was kind of angled at a point where there was something, like a cord or something, maybe speakers that were dangling in my way. But
the dreaded obstructed view.
A little bit, but you know what? It didn't hinder it at all. I was able to kind of see, there was like the open patch in between Stone and Eddie, and I was able to see that really well. I was able to see Matt, and I think Boom was on that side, so I was able to see everybody. It was actually pretty cool. I kind of liked it. It kind of felt intimate a little bit.
Cool. So I think they had done Pittsburgh was the night before. Did you look at that set list? Did you kind of get a preview of what you were going to be in for?
No, and it was so hard and tempting not to do it. And I heard some people talking in line for a poster, and we'll get to the poster in a second. And they were talking about the night before because they had went. And I'm like, la 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 la, I put my fingers in my ears, don't say anything. And they're like, oh man, last night was great. And he said, can I just tell you one thing? I'm like, all right, tell me one thing. And the one thing was that they invited, at the time, the Pirates closer, Jason Grilli, on stage to do Whipping. And I think that was his walkout music when he played. So that was a really cool moment. So I'm like, okay, that's if they don't play Whipping tonight, that's fine. That's the only thing I need to know. Great. We're set. I didn't know anything about what they opened with, how they utilized the new songs, nothing like that. So came as pretty much a fresh surprise.
Nice.
What do you think of the poster for this show?
I'm not familiar with it.
So it's really cool. Buffalo is the Queen City. So it's a buffalo with like a queen robe and like a scepter, and in the scepter is the 10 Club ace.
Okay, yeah, I think I do. I think I remember seeing it.
It's a really nice poster.
Yeah.
And I think most of the posters on this tour were really good. Everybody remembers the Pittsburgh poster. That's probably one of the most popular posters in the last 10 years. But man, I remember seeing this, and I remember seeing the print, and I'm just like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to put it in anything. It's just so, it shined.
So you have this one framed up on your... on your wall?
Yes, this is one. I don't have everything on my wall, but this is one I definitely have, because it just the experience of being there, and this being the first one of the tour. The first one is always the most exciting, and just again, being able to drive 6 hours, on a whim, by myself, without a care in the world, just sort of just doing it. And there's actually a funny story that I don't remember all the details to, but I booked a hotel in Niagara Falls, Canada, instead of Niagara Falls, New York. I didn't have a passport at the time, so I got into a massive argument with the hotel manager, and he, for I don't know, like 10 minutes, refused to refund my money. And I don't know how it all happened, but I just remember in the background, I'm singing the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme to myself. I'm like, this is unbelievable, because I start ranting and raving and doing Larry David shtick and whatever. But even went to a point, I'm like, well, can you let me in without a passport? And the guy just fumed. He was so mad. But I ended up staying at another place for way more money, but
we'll have to go back and we'll have to post a picture of that poster on Facebook or something.
Oh yeah, it'll be there.
Of how cool it was, because there were a lot of great ones on this tour for sure.
Yeah, it'll be there, absolutely.
Nice.
Let's kick right in with the song that pretty much spelled the opening for almost every show this tour, Pendulum.
Can't know what's high till you've been down so low. The future's bright, all lit up with nowhere to go. To and fro, the pendulum throws. We are here and then we go. My shadow left me long ago.
Man, this was a surprise to me. This was not one of the songs that really perked my ears when I listened to the album at first. It was just kind of, I think it was sort of the in-between song that was kind of, okay, this is a little bit of a down moment before you get into some more upbeat stuff. But I didn't really think much about it before I heard it. And then, like, just knowing that they were using it as an opener gave me the idea that, okay, maybe this song is a little better than I've given it credit for. And I was kind of on that same fence with Unthought Known during the Backspacer tour, but I gave it a little bit more respect after that, and obviously I saw it them open with it every show this tour, so you were able to get familiar and sing along to it and all that, and I after a while I started liking it as an opener.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, and we're 6 years out from Lightning Bolt already, but I think it's going to be one from that album that ages a lot better than a lot of the other ones on that record, because it's just so different. It's got kind of a cool vibe to it. It's something they haven't really done before.
Yeah.
And I think live it's really cool because you get McCready with the bow, and you get the green lights coming down and swinging around, and like there's some really nice bass stuff from Jeff in this version.
Sure. That
I really like, and it's just a cool way to start the show,
Yeah, I completely agree. It's an eerie vibe, and then you can't really go down from there. And I kind of like when they go into something like Nothing Man, that's a sing along, or Elderly Woman, that's a sing along. I think like after you come off of Pendulum, it's usually a pretty high spot. So and this one being Low Light is a really high spot for me.
Clouds roll by, reeling is what they say, or is it just my way? Wind blows by, low light, sidetracked, low light, can't see my tracks, you're simply blind.
What happens here is, again, not knowing the set list from the night before. How am I going to know that they're not just doing one and done? You know, pendulum into corduroy, pendulum into go, or mind your manners, whatever it is. So they do low light. I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. It's kind of a slow burn. And how much I was digging on low light at the time. This was. I was a fan. I was in on this. Do it up. It gives you the opportunity to hear songs that you wouldn't necessarily get in a show. Like the next song, sometimes you wouldn't get sometimes in a show if it wasn't an opener, and in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, I love this first three. You know, Pendulum. I hope it sticks around on this next tour whenever that happens. You get a little setting the stage on low light where he says everything is fucking calm.
All I feel is fucking calm.
Sometimes has kind of the extended intro, which is really cool. And then he goes into like were you ever here, dear God? And like sometimes whenever you get anything off of No Code, you consider yourself lucky, but sometimes especially is one of the coolest ones, especially early in the set like this. And like I said, it's normally an opener. To get it as part of this was like really special because you're, again, even if you know what's coming, you're still expecting maybe like a Nothing Man or something a little more, in that low key vibe. But to get sometimes it kind of transitions from the slow burn, it kind of builds up at the end into the faster part of the set.
Sing my part, devote myself. My small self, like a book amongst the many who own a shelf. Sometimes I know, sometimes I rise, sometimes I fall, sometimes I know, sometimes I cringe, sometimes I live, sometimes I walk, sometimes I kneel, sometimes I speak of nothing. Sometimes I reach to myself, here God.
This crowd, you can't hear them too well in the bootleg, but I think they were up for this one. It comes off as a little disappointing in the bootleg, though. But I thought that the crowd sounded pretty good around me.
Okay.
So, speaking of the crowd, I do have a story about a kid that was sitting next to me. So, go to sit down, you say hi to people, whatever, and the kid's like, Pearl Jam's one of my three favorite bands. I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. And he says, I love Pearl Jam, I love Tool, and I love Metallica. I'm like, cool, man, awesome, good stuff. Can't wait to see the show. And I don't know if this was the first time he had seen him. I don't remember any of that. Just kind of making small talk during the show and just kind of almost speaking out loud to myself, saying, oh, they're opening with a new song. And I kind of said that towards him. And I'm like, hey, they're opening with a new one. And he's like, oh, yeah. Sometimes comes along and he gets back into my ear and he's like, looks like they're doing a lot of new ones tonight, huh?
Oh, no.
And
poor No Code.
Yep.
Feel
and
so bad for it. It's so good.
I know. This kid must have listened to 10 and maybe Backspacer, and that was it. But I immediately said to him, "This is no code," and he did not look in my direction for the rest of the night. So, if you became a bigger fan, and that's you that's listening out there, then sorry if I embarrassed you, but whoops. You opened up the door. Anyway, let's get into the meaty part of the opening set. Corduroy, Lightning Bolt, Mind Your Manners, Do the Evolution all packaged together. Great. You have the nice warm-up for 3. It prepped the crowd, and it drove home that, hey, we're going to have some energy here. And, of course, Corduroy is the can't believe I'm at a Pearl Jam show moment, so you get lost in it. Lightning Bolt, my favorite at the time, was definitely my favorite off the album. Getting it post-Wrigley, still on a high from hearing it at Wrigley and then going back and listening to the YouTube clip thousands and thousands of times after that. And Mind Your Manners Evolution, this was a really good section. I have no problems with it at all. I'll take it every single time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of heavy hitters right up at the front. You get Corduroy has kind of a cool ending. I really noticed Matt on the drums just bashing the shit out of his drums at the end. You can definitely even hear that on the bootleg. But yeah, you get, of course, the Lightning Bolt, Mind Your Manners pair, which again probably the 2 best songs from Lightning Bolt that translate live.
They were probably played back to back. Yeah, they were probably played back to back. Almost
9 out of 10 shows, probably.
You would think, yeah. I was gonna dig up the numbers on that, but I got a little lazy for this one. So sorry, your statistician is not on his A game today. So
baseball season's coming to an end, so he's losing it a little bit. But yeah, Do the Evolution is fantastic whenever you get it. It's one of those moments in the show where people get to participate and get to clap and scream along. So, and
this was one of the evolutions where you had instead of the Admire Me, Admire My Home, you had the whoa, 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 and that I love when they do that. It's just really good crowd participation. And then sometimes, I don't remember if he did it in this one, but sometimes Ed gets really on a high. He's like, let's do it again, and they'll do it a second time. It's really good. So I'll have to go back.
I want them to bring back those South American versions with the fast clapping and all the really extended version. Those are some of the best ones.
Oh yeah, when we start covering South America shows, we'll bring those up.
Oh yeah.
That should be fun. Okay, after Evolution, they take a long time to get into the next one, and they mentioned somewhere that they were changing things around. So I went and I looked at the original set list for this, and originally it was supposed to be Evolution into My Father's Son. So Immortality was originally set for Encore 1 after the Yellow Moon Future Days. And it looked like they tweaked some things, moved some stuff around. Rats was supposed to be late first set, and that was kind of moved into the Immortality spot. So they were... It's interesting, because in the first set, this is something they would do for an encore, but in the first set, to take a song that was supposed to be played in the encore and move it into its rightful spot. This is really where Immortality belongs. It's interesting that they would decide to do that.
Now, was this because of... You think they realized that there were people sitting behind the stage, and was this the beginning of the turning around to play a song? Is that why they switched it for Small Town? Because that's more of a crowd participation.
Well, Small Town was always on the set. Small Town was always where it was supposed to be, I think.
Okay. To get Immortality this early is a little strange. You normally get it either, it's either the penultimate song of the first set or you get it in an encore one. But I mean, again, Immortality it's a top 10 song for me. So, nothing wrong with that whenever it shows up.
Yeah, and this Immortality has the intro.
me so near to her. Can I find the comfort in this world? Artificial tears, vessels stand next door. Volunteers, vulnerable, wisdom can't hear. Truant finds home, wish to hold on to. There's a trapdoor in the song. Immortality.
So this is significant here because the intro, I had never heard them do the intro before. I was pretty much
pretty like arpeggiated part that starts it.
Yeah, so I pretty much at the time was only listening to stuff that I had a bootleg of. So any live version of Immortality, I had only heard just kind of, just passing by on it. I never heard Immortality live before, so this intro kind of, I wasn't able to piece it together until they did the actual dun 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 dun. And I freaked out because that was one, I don't think at the time I don't think I realized how much I wanted to hear it live, and how good it was. And I think I got it maybe one or two more times on that tour, but it grew. I have a strong place for this version because this version grew into, rose it from, maybe top 30 to top 5. After that, I was sold on this being one of my favorite songs of all time from them. So it's just, it's a must hear almost every single show for me.
Oh yeah, it's a chance for Mike to just go off into another world, as he is known to do.
Yeah, everything about it, just the kind of the mystique to it that it has, and then at the end where everything builds back up and you get the pounding drums, it's nothing more positive that we can say on that or we can go off for another hour on that. But yeah, this was a particularly awesome version for me.
Yeah, this is one we're gonna have to do an Evolution episode on soon.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good idea. All right, so after that, we get the debut of My Father's Son, and already a couple bars in, we fuck it up.
I am a genius and I am my father's son. All right, I got it. It's Saturday night, give me a break, yeah? I don't think we've played this one before, so takes 2. I'm a genius and I am my father's son. Yeah, too bad I was a psychopath and now I'm the next in line.
Oh, we didn't fuck it up.
Me and you. Yeah, me and you were on stage. We
fuck up enough for ourselves. We can't.
Sure
be
do.
Responsible for Pearl Jam fucking up.
No, but we can be responsible for talking about Pearl Jam fucking up, and we can be responsible for ourselves fucking up, talking about when Pearl Jam's fucking up. So
Why do I keep fucking up?
this was kind of like the marker in the sand moment. I don't know if you remember that from a past episode. Matt and I had talked about the marker in the sand. I wrote the song, but I fucked it up. This is a little less memorable, but it's Jeff sort of figuring out his place to play it, or what key he's supposed to play it.
And this is a weird opening riff. Like, I get why it would be hard for the timing at the beginning, because it's a strange riff for them. The timing is weird. People are coming in at weird times. So yeah, I give them a pass being the first time. It wouldn't have ruined it for me.
Yeah, I don't think I minded. I never saw the song again. But
and again, we talked about it at the Gorge too. Like, Pearl Jam is one of those bands when they fuck up, like they have you pulling for them on their side. It's not like if you go see Tool or Metallica and they fuck up and it ruins the show and everyone's like, what the fuck is this shit? Like,
yeah, right.
You know, when they're Pearl Jam's so adorable when they fuck up. Like they acknowledge it, they make fun of themselves, and they get you on their side.
Yeah, there was absolutely, nothing wrong. It's actually, sometimes it's fun to see it. Yeah, sometimes it's just straight up fun.
People laugh, and like it's one of those things that you remember. Yeah,
humanizes them. So, it wasn't. It's again the drop D tuning for the song for Eddie to reach those parts that he hits in the chorus. It spoils what the song could be live, because I know that they probably want to hold Eddie's voice for the good stuff. One thing that we should talk about a little bit is just Boom's part in this, that I guess you can't really hear on the album, or it might be just invisible on the album. Boom sounds really good here. I don't know if you if you realize
I didn't make a note of it, but it's one of those things where, in this tour and this album, he was really like getting a little more. He was getting a little more recognition, a little more in the forefront in some of these songs. He was getting a little more than just a participation trophy. Sure, yeah. And there was actually a thread today about Boom and whether or not he's a member of the band and debating all that. And, I consider him a member in my heart. I think he should be part of it. I think he should even be in the Hall of Fame with them. So every band needs an old Hawaiian dude. Exactly. Think of your favorite band and think how much better they would be with an old Hawaiian dude playing keyboards. It works for every band. Yep. Mm-hmm. Even the emo bands, especially the emo bands. Yeah, my think about how much better My Chemical Romance would have been with an old Hawaiian dude playing keyboards. Think about Radiohead would love an old Hawaiian dude playing keyboards. Oh, that would be Think about sweet. Tool on their tour. If all of a sudden they bring out here's an old Hawaiian dude we're gonna play keyboards with us, you'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, it's a can't miss. They're Pearl Jam pioneered the old Hawaiian dude playing keyboards. Yep, I'm in. Let's make it happen. We need to produce more Boom gas bars. Let's do it. The rock bands are going to start touring over there just to pick them out and farm them out. Let's go surfing and see if we can meet anybody. Do you play the organ? Yeah? All right. You're now on tour with Fall Out Boy. Yeah. Start growing that beard. Exactly. That's great. They would have to use a different name. Everybody would need no, they're all named Boom. They're all named Boom. They're all just Boom. Whatever their name is, they're just Boom. Oh, man. I'm in. I love it. Going back to the set. This section here, I kind of, placed things in the section. We can kind of pick out the spots we want to pick out, but Even Flow, Swallowed Whole, Sirens, Once, Comatose, all kind of in a straight line here. I don't have a lot of memories of this section of the show. I think it was just kind of even flow and follow up. After you get a lot of heavy hitters early. You get the Corduroy, do the Evolution and Mortality. I mean, you can't keep that up throughout a whole 18 songs, right? So you're gonna get a little dip. I mean, Even Flow's great. You get a great McCready solo. It's a 7-minute version, and then you get a debut of Swallowed Whole. I believe, if I'm correct. It is the debut, yeah. But then, Sirens, Once. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but nothing really stood out to me when I was listening to it. Yeah, the one thing that really stood out was how weird the placement was for Once. It just felt like a semi-prominent song off a 10 should kind of be a penultimate song. It should be, near the end of a set list before Porch or before Rearview Mirror or something like that. It should build to something, and it just kind of goes Once and Comatose, and you're just kind of I don't think they know what to do with Once, even now. Is it a song that belongs in an encore too? Is it one of those that deserves a an elevated spot in the set, or is it?
I think it can.
Like a filler? Is it a filler song? Is it like an opener? Like I don't think they really know what to do with it.
I think it has weird versatility. Here's my one baseball reference.
Similar to Why Go.
Yeah. Why Go has a little bit more that you could do with it. I guess once you can open with it, but it doesn't really happen too often. I don't know. I think I like it best when it's kind of late first set and you're building to a porch or a blood or something like that. Well, I think if
it was up to me, they don't ever have to play it again. If it was up to me, not one of my favorites, but
hate it that much, huh?
It's just not. I mean, yeah, it's cool when everybody's screaming like once, but it is what it is. A lot of the time, it's a song. Like if I'm at a show and I'm thinking about what I want to hear, like once is not something that I think of.
Swallowed Whole also debuted. We mentioned real quick. I don't know if we're ever gonna really talk about Swallowed Whole at all, but
it's a nice song. Like it's
fine.
It's not. Yeah, it's not going to be on the greatest hits retrospective.
It doesn't grab you much.
It's just a nice song. I guess.
But when I hear the song, it reminds me of this weekend trip. It reminds me of driving on a road trip and seeing like the fall foliage, and it kind of. I think October and fall and music work really well together, at least in my life. I've gravitated towards listening to all different kind of music in the fall, and for some reason always doing road trips in the fall too. So you got music going on in the background, and it's your you have anthems and it's your soundtrack for basically your vacationing. So I just have memories of I probably played the Lightning Bolt album while up there. I would assume I did. Or I played... Actually, what I did was I probably played 2 bootlegs, because you get 2 3-hour bootlegs, and that gets you up there. So that's probably what I did.
There was a thing when the vinyl of Lightning Bolt came out that it was defective. Like a lot of the original vinyl copies were... Because it's kind of a weird packaging.
Oh,
because it's very intricate with like the cutout and everything. Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, there was something where there was a lot of defective vinyl copies, but they had to resend, like they sent everybody a second disc of it that was like they had to do a repressing basically.
Weird.
And send everybody like an extra fine. Like I remember that happened to me. Like I have 2 records of Lightning Bolt, because one of them, the first one is like there's certain songs I think where it was scratched. So like I don't think I heard the whole album until I got the repress basically of the vinyl from the pressing company.
Wow,
just a weird thing that I remember. Just
you wouldn't even seek it out online. You wouldn't seek it out on like YouTube or anything.
I don't think so.
Buy it on iTunes.
I think by this time I think I was pretty much vinyl only.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, look at that, sticking to your guns.
Yeah, man. You gotta have principles.
Now
I still don't have Spotify.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, because I have my own records. That's all I listen to.
Hey, good on you, man. Another real quick note in this run of songs, Comatose. It's so fucking common. Ed forgot the bridge on this again for the 100th time.
He's so adorable.
It doesn't bother me, but it's just like, and he knows he fucked it up. He's just like,
rising something there.
Crapshoot Rapture, the original version, which they did at the Easy Street
Easy
show,
Street, yep.
I love that version so much. Like, so much better than I think what Comatose turned into. I think it was one of the... I think it's very obviously about the Terry Schiavo case, if you remember all that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really liked it better as Crapshoot Rapture. The lyrics were better. And I think sometimes maybe he forgets that he goes back to maybe the Crapshoot Rapture lyrics because like that's
Maybe.
how it was originally written.
Right,
And he gets
yeah.
lost maybe.
That's a good
Because the
point.
Comatose lyrics are a lot simpler than the Crapshoot Rapture lyrics were. Go back and seek that one out if you haven't. It's so much better than it turned out. But neither here nor there. But yeah,
That's
Ed
definitely
fucked up. He's
interesting.
adorable. We love him.
Yep. And it's story time. And I think this is my favorite moment of the show here, or at least one of them.
This one was recorded with a guy you've heard of called Mr. Neil Young. And he was in with the fellas, and they were making a collection of songs which later turned out to be called Mirror Ball. Mirror Ball. And I walked in a few days in, and they were counting songs, and they said they're having a little meeting, a little powwow, and they said, wow, how many we got? We got 9 songs. We got 9 songs. And Neil looked at me, he goes, you write one, we got 10. Or if you got one, I got 10. And I said, I don't got one. I got shit. Neil said, I got shit, that's the song. Mama say my nails up it off. It's been a month and a day since I've heard myself talk. All they have found is this life's got on me. Picture an open cup in the middle of the sea. And I fight back with my mind. Yeah, lets me be right. Oh, I got memories, I got shit. So much it don't show.
I don't know if because of the story and because it kind of like it got you into the song a little more, does it help your enjoyment of it that you know the story and know a little bit more background?
Well, I've loved this song since the first second I heard it. Like I've said before, this is in my top 5 all-time of Pearl Jam songs. Like I love the lyrics, I love the melody. It's just perfection. Like 95. I wish they would have released 10 albums in 1995. They were on such a hot streak.
They were, yeah.
They could do no wrong. So hearing the story, like I've heard it before. It's just a cool moment. Like how cool would it have been to have been a fly on the wall in those recording sessions and to hear something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the song whenever it shows up. It's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, I always think back to this version especially. It just, they tell the story, they get into the song, it's short and sweet, and it fills the set,
It should be played at every show.
Yeah. I don't know about every show, because I think after every show, I think if they played it at like 4 shows in a row, I'd be like, all right, you know what? Need to take a little bit of a break.
Well, that's your problem.
Because then it would be, I want it to be exciting for me again the next time.
I'm so jaded because I've been to so many shows. Oh, I don't want to hear this. Go. We're going to have to fight.
But it happens. Oh
my
Does it not happen? It happens.
No, it doesn't.
You can't control it.
Play I Got Shit at every show next year.
Play 2020.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. All right, packaging the final part of the first set. Infallible, present tense, State 11 Trust, Porch. Interesting 4 to end it on. You get a new one in Infallible, and it was kind of a tour staple going forward on this tour at least. And
Now this wasn't the debut of Infallible, right? They played it the night
no,
before?
I think they played at Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Still, a great song. One of the coolest ones off of Lightning Bolt. Another one that's going to have a lot of more staying power than some of the other ones, I think. Lyrics are great. And it kind of found a place in this spot at like the end of the first set over the course of this tour.
Yeah, this pretty much turned into where Infallible stayed, which is a really good spot for it. I think it kind of opens up, it can kind of come after something a little bit more heavy and then lead into something that gets you to build back up into the rest of the set. And, Present Tense, State of Love and Trust and Porch is a really good combo to finish you up and to get you ready for, whatever encore is about to come. Present
Tense
not
sounded a little off to me. It sounded like it wasn't quite there.
I mean, we had a really good Present Tense last week, so
yeah.
Comparatively, it doesn't compare. But yeah, I agree. It wasn't as peak as other versions.
It just sounded off, like it just wasn't all there, I thought. But yeah, State of Love and Trust is great. I love this version of Porch. You get, again, 8 minutes plus.
Yep.
A little call and response. You finally get to hear the crowd a little bit.
Vantage point, I think Eddie went back to my vantage point, and he did the whole running back and looking at the crowd and waving to the crowd.
Was he walking out in the crowd yet at this point?
I don't remember
he did that in Charlotte.
At the show.
Yeah,
I think at some point on the show he did, because I had a picture. It might have been Brooklyn. It might have been the first night of Brooklyn that I have a picture of just a crowd shot. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Why would I take a picture of the crowd? Eddie must have been in it. I think he was. I can't be for sure.
Okay. Makes sense.
If your memory is better than mine, live on fourlegspodcast@gmail.com. You take over the show next time. Porch was really awesome at this. It was just Ed is crazy. Mike is crazy. It was a great way to end 90 minutes of just good old Pearl Jam, good old fashioned rock and roll. It wasn't a show that blew your mind. It wasn't going to be a legendary show, but it was a fun show for the first set.
I'll go with that.
Okay. All right. Well, I was having a good time. I was there. I'm sure if you were there, maybe you would have felt a little differently, but
no. I mean, if you're, like we've said before, like we can be a little critical, but if you're there, you're having the fucking time of your life, man.
Exactly.
You're seeing one of the greatest American rock bands to ever play. So, it's pure stoke, as they say.
Exactly. And going back to Present Tense real quick, the three you mentioned before, No Code. And No Code songs are pretty prominent in the set. They're prominent No Code songs.
Have I mentioned No Code enough? No Code.
No
Code. Enough.
There you go. But yeah, I feel like all three of those No Code songs were pretty prominently placed and kind of made for a theme in the night. It was nice because I think No Code was the one in heavy in my rotation at this point. We're in the encore here. Ed says hello. They're feeling great. Since they only get to do this every 3 to 7 years, they want to take advantage of this place. I guess they were in Buffalo for 2010. I know they were in Buffalo 2003. That version, Even Flow, from that show is apparently one of the best even flows of all time. He compliments the Sabres logo here, and some of the fans are chanting "Go Leafs, go!" Which Ed responds, "I can't hear you. I lost my hearing in 1995." So,
I'll wear those earplugs, kids.
Yeah, exactly. And says, "Here's a song from that era that was written in near 1995, and this is no code. Off he goes." First time I'm getting it, and I'm really excited to get it because, again, no code was heavy in my rotation at this point. I'm sure the kid next to me was really excited to hear it too because no code was really heavy in his rotation.
It was like another new song, yes.
Exactly. Is this from 10?
They must have just put out a double album because we're getting a lot of new songs.
Yeah, right. I think we should do a meme. You know the butterfly meme? Like, this is this what? Is this whatever it is? I think we should do like
the little the anime thing.
Yeah. Non-Pearl Jam fan. Is this from 10? Something like that. I don't know.
Well, we can work on that.
Yeah.
You can be in charge of memes.
Oh, I'm in charge of another thing with this damn show.
Hey, it was your idea.
I'll fall through. Sure, whatever.
We'll put Matt in charge of it.
Yeah, that'll work. So, first time I'm getting it, really excited to get it. You know, you get into the intro.
No man, his face seemed old and tan. Carry guitar down to the ear like he's riding on a motorbike in the strongest winds. Carry guitar down in the ear, so I approach with time.
Carry guitar, and I just I'm
some
cracking up.
issues.
I'm cracking up laughing myself. And he does it again, end of the next line. Carry guitar. Sometimes I don't know if I love it more than I hate it, or vice versa.
Hey, you got to be able to hear yourself. If you can't hear yourself, you can't play.
Look, yeah, he's right. It always stands out to me though, and even if I'm hearing Off He Goes while listening to another show on bootleg or even live, I've heard it before, and I think to myself, carry guitar. It's funny.
And we talked about it too when we did the Charlotte episode, which was a couple of weeks after this. That Off He Goes kind of became like a folkier, more upbeat song than it originally was, and I prefer the original like stark, downtrodden Off He Goes. Yeah, give me a little darkness in the Off He Goes. But this is not my favorite way to hear it. But again, it's a no code song, so you take what you can get.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I was very happy to have it, and still am. It's probably one of the highlights of this night for me. And also like Immortality, it was one that probably pushed up into the top 5 after this show. That's the most important part of this show is what came after, is how I saw songs after hearing them live for the first time. So that's it's important thing to grasp,
because you've seen them so many times.
So many, John. Lots, like 4 times on this tour.
Did they play Atlanta on this tour? No, they did not.
When was the last time they played Atlanta?
2012 in a festival.
Does that even count? I don't think that counts.
I was there. I mean, it counts because I was there. But, in 2 hours of Pearl Jam in the last 16 years, I think we're due.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
They'll do SunTrust. That would be a really cool ballpark to do.
Yeah, Green Day and Weezer tour is coming there.
Well, maybe they will. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that this was all building up to playing at SunTrust one day.
For a week straight.
Yeah.
Wait.
I'll be back. I'll be back to visit.
Yeah.
All right, so more of this encore cooldown here. Future Days and Yellow Moon before Future Days, and
continuing the
yep.
folksy feel.
Yep, and continuing the just promoting new songs for new album. You know exactly what you're going to get from this. It's dad-ed kind of stuff. It's okay. You need to add in the variety every now and again, but I just don't. It is what it is for me.
Yeah, it's a chance to give his voice a break.
Yeah.
It's something easy in his register. He doesn't have to strain for.
Yeah, and Yellow Moon's a nice live song. I think it sounds nice. Future Days for me can get a little sleepy, but you kind of knew it was coming, so there's no reason to be upset about it. There's no reason to be pissed that you're getting songs that you don't like or whatnot. It's a new tour. They're doing new stuff, so it is what it is. In between, Ed talks about how his youngest daughter scored her first goal in soccer that day, and he would have felt bad missing it, but the crowd made up for it. And that's
Women's World Cup 2029. Let's go.
Harper Vetter.
Yep.
Harper or Olivia?
Get the scouts out.
Who's the older one? Who's the younger one?
I think Olivia is the older one, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I thought.
Don't quote me on that.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. He mentions the crowd, felt bad that he was missing the game, and the crowd made up for it. And that's when they turn around and play Elderly Woman right to the crowd. And when they turn around, what's the first thing that's going through my mind, John? Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
Oh, you love it. You love it.
I had this feeling in my gut. Oh no. I didn't want to hate the show. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and I'm like, good. It was cool. I got a lot of shots of the band during this, and them playing behind the stage. I think Matt either had a kit back there or moved half his kit. It was.
Yeah, I think he does. He has a little dummy kit.
Yeah,
that he kind of stands up, and it's just a little basic 3-piece drum set or something. He can just do keep the beat kind of minimally.
It sounded good. It was fun to just kind of, again, it was intimate. It felt like we were right on top of them. So, it benefit from being behind the stage, and you kind of get your own performance there. And, that doesn't happen every night. So it's a really cool moment. Definitely memorable. And then they kind of rotated between Small Town, Last Kiss, and Smile. You knew it was going to be one of those three. I've never gotten a Smile turned around. I've never gotten that before. Yeah, they did it a few times on this tour. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Stuff I didn't know. Learning new things on the podcast this week. Rats we got, and then we got the final two songs of the Encore 2. It says that this is actually a new idea, not a new song, and Rats is played drop down.
They don't eat, they don't sleep, they don't feed, they don't speak. Yeah, bear their guns when they moan and squeak. Lick the dirt off a larger one's feet. They don't push, don't go out, congregate until they're much too loud. Fight to procreate till they are dead. Drink the blood of this pelvis free. They don't scurry when something bigger comes their way. Don't pack
last time they had played Rats? Do we know?
I actually don't have any stats up right now.
They played it once in 2012 in Amsterdam, and then a few times in 2011. But yeah, not very many. It pops up a couple of times a year.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have my live footsteps stats up right now, or else I'm not. My statistic game is off today. I apologize. Sometimes sometimes LeBron misses two. Comparing myself, but yeah, I mean they don't play Rats that much as it is. So,
but no, I thought it had. I thought it had some cool guitar stuff going on, even though it was dropped E. There was some cool little extra riffs and some cool little, noodling around in there, which I thought made it nice. It's probably the rarest song you get at this show. There's no Lost Dogs on this show, so
right.
Rats is the one that the series collectors are getting at this one.
A lot of verses on this show. I think verses was probably in the lead for non-lightning bolt songs, which is great. It, I'd rather get more verses song than 10 sometimes. So, Got Some is late in an encore, and I don't mind it here, but this was where I started to realize that I can't stand Got Some anymore. I was fine with it until this point.
I'm gonna sit you in a room and make you listen to Devo for like a week straight.
I've listened to Devo.
Appreciate Got Some.
I appreciate it as a song. I don't appreciate it as a song in Encore 1 or Encore 2. I don't think it belongs here.
Well, it's a fun song. It's something that it's a faster one. It's something. I mean, it might not be a pillar. It's not something that. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It takes 2.5 minutes, and you're in, you're out.
Yeah, I would rather have something more prominent. Like if Got Some and Once were flipped, great. That would have been fine, and that would have made sense. I would have no complaints, and Got Some would have never gotten on my nerves. But I got this later in the tour in Hartford. I got this in the same spot again. They were on a high. They were on the highest of highs. They did ain't talking about love, giving a fly. Got Some. It just I felt deflated when that happened. That was the only time in that show where I was able to say it was a disappointment. And
it
was a very
I have kind of a soft
one,
spot for Got Some, not only because you hate it and therefore I love it, but because it was the one that when Conan O'Brien was hosting the Tonight Show for the 2 or 3 weeks, whenever that happened, if people remember that in 2009. Pearl Jam was the first musical guest on his show, and they came out and did Got Some, and it's a great version. So that was the first song that I heard off of Backspacer, and I remember thinking oh, this is going to be cool. This sounds like Devo. It sounds like new wave. This is going to be a cool album. And whether or not they fulfilled that is your personal preference, but Got Some always has kind of a soft spot for it, even though Backspacer is not my favorite album by any means, but I really like Got Some.
Didn't they play Olay on one of those shows, Fallon or something like that?
That was a Jimmy Fallon, I think. 2011.
Oh, what a bad choice.
Yeah, I think it was right as they were right before the South American shows or right after, so that was kind of
it sounds right. Yeah, that's when they started playing
at that point. Yeah.
Rearview Mirror closes the set. Bridge has a really atmospheric vibe. Really dig it.
Matt has, at this point it's ho hum, another fucking fantastic version of Rearview Mirror.
Exactly.
There's like you said, there's 477 versions. Whatever.
Such a high bar to reach.
Amazing.
Right. But different from this version from others, Matt has this nice little drum section before driving into Jeff's basement.
Yeah, I mean they're all unique. I've yet to hear a bad version of Rearview Mirror.
Not much else you can say, and a lot of the reason why I like the show is that it just has a lot of personal favorites. Rearview Mirror being one of them. Go in the Encore, another one. Just all-time favorites that I love live. Some of my favorite live songs here.
4 out of 5 verses in a row. Like you said, a heavy versus show.
Heavy versus
To
show.
get 4 out of 5 from one album in an encore. Usually that's the 10 spot where you get, Black, Alive, Porch, State of Love and Trust, if I can count that from that era.
Sure.
But and so it's kind of unique to get verses this prominent late in a show like this.
Yeah, I was all for it. I was excited for it. So go opening up the encore set. It wasn't the most explosive version of Go, but
again, McCready just going off, like the
Right.
solo is just amazing.
right, yeah. I think sometimes you got to get off to it at a really impactful start. Listening to it on a bootleg, at least, for me to say like, man, this was a go-getter, I suppose you would call it. Get it? Go-getter.
Boo.
Are you saying boo or boo earns?
I already made a once joke earlier. We've reached our limit on song puns for this episode.
This might be a dad ed show, but this is not a dad joke show. That was the last. That was entirely. I was not trying to do that. It was unintentional. Sorry.
That's 2 strikes. One more and we're out.
Oh, okay. We cut this early, huh? Bread and butter type spot. It's changing it up a little bit. Alive, Baba, Indifference. But this was the first time I heard Baba, and I was so pumped to get it. I just remember being really excited, and just at this point, the kid next to me, him and his girlfriend had left. So big Pearl Jam fan. 3 of his favorite bands right there. He left before the second encore. So
He had to go
good
run
on
out and
you.
run out and buy the new album because all these amazing songs were on it.
Yeah, exactly. Go out. Hey, this no code thing. I heard like 8 no code songs on this show. I got to check it out. So I had more room to just like bounce around and enjoy myself. So this was Baba was awesome. Baba was so much fun. I think this was my 10th show, so that's kind of a while before getting Baba, right?
Yeah.
Baba.
Sure.
We don't call you Baba on the show anymore. I don't know why we don't.
Yeah, no. I like to think I've established myself as the preeminent. No, I don't know. I was gonna make something up, but no. I mean, yeah. This last 3, it's great. Like, yeah. I mean, would you have liked to hear a Black? Something, sure.
Probably.
But yeah, alive, Baba, Indifference. You'll take it every time.
Yeah, great. Look, great way to end the show with everybody singing at the top of their lungs with Indifference.
Maybe was this like an unexpected Indifference? Did we think that Baba was going to end the show and then they kind of just go into Indifference? Like, let's just do it. Was this kind of a spur of the moment?
This was on the set, I think. I think Indifference was on the set. But for me, I think I was expecting Indifference because maybe it was because just the vast amount of versus songs in this show. I think it just made it appropriate that was the closer.
Yeah.
So
when in Buffalo, do as the Buffalonians do.
Yeah, or Buffalite.
Or Buffaloans.
Buffalite? What? Yeah, that was a thing in the show too. But I think that's the one.
Right.
Bison. All right. Top 3 moments in the show.
Whew. And I didn't talk about this at the top of the show, but a lot of times with these early tour shows, you get a little bit of rust. You don't get a lot of crazy stuff. Like I said, there's no Lost Dogs in this show. You're gonna get some debuts, which is cool, but like they hadn't quite kind of caught their groove like they would a little bit later in the tour. So my top 3 was a little difficult to pick 3 for me because I wasn't there. There isn't. I don't think there's a full video on YouTube, so I couldn't really immerse myself in the experience. But I'll say number 3. I'll go with Rats, being the rarest song at the show. A cool moment. I like the little extra guitar stuff they put on it. Always cool to hear. Number 2, I'll say Porch. Love this version of Porch. Long version, a lot of call and response, crowd participation. Kind of one of those moments that Ed gives to the crowd to like make this your own. So I enjoyed that. And then my number 1, of course, we talked about at the beginning. Sometimes such a cool song to hear at any point, and unexpected in that spot with the extended intro, and he always kind of messes with the lines, and then you get that crazy build up at the end. That's one of my favorites. So that's those are my three.
Nice. Those are good. I had a little bit more of a difficult time picking them because there were so many things that I do love from this show. So number 3, I left Baba off, even though I really love the Baba moment. But number 3 for me is Off He Goes, because I just, again, every time that I hear Off He Goes now, I always say carry guitar.
Carry guitar. He's still doing it when they're recording now. They're rehearsing for this hopefully tour that we're gonna get, and he's still doing it at their rehearsal right now.
Yep, and he's not even there. Carrie's not even there.
Right.
Number 2 is I Got Shit, because of the story and how nicely it flowed into the song, and just, it was a nice pace changer in the middle of the set. That was a really, really cool moment.
That's a good
one. Number 1, Immortality for me. Just, it was, first time I ever saw it. I think the surprise, not knowing what the little arpeggiated intro was, and for me it was onward from there, and now it's a top 5 song. So
nice.
Lots of great moments.
Well, mine were better, but people can email us and let us know which one.
You weren't there, John. Don't we tell that to the guests all the time? We aren't there, so your moments and your memories count more than ours. Mine count more, damn it.
Mine were still better.
Yeah, how are you gonna rate it though?
It's tough. I went back and forth on this one. I thought about giving it like a 5, because it just didn't really. There was nothing really to hold on to, like special. That like I probably won't go back and listen to this one, for fun. But going back as we've talked about it, and I've kind of heard some of your stories, and we've talked about it a little bit. I'm gonna give it a little bump, and I'm gonna say 7.
Oh wow, that's a 2-point bump. That's really good.
Yeah,
Cool. This is also probably your lowest grade that you've given.
It was nice. Like I didn't hate it, obviously,
right?
But it didn't have those like special moments that a lot of the shows we've been covering lately have had.
Yeah, I think it's one of those shows that if you had to have been there for you to really enjoy it. I've talked to somebody that went to most of these shows on this tour, and I said, well, what'd you think of Buffalo? And they're like, oh, Buffalo was definitely top 3. Just feeling the vibe of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if Versus is your favorite record, then you're fucking stoked.
Right, no code. You got 3 no code. Yeah. Sometimes you're lucky to get 1. That's huge for some people. Sometimes it's more about that than how the set list is placed and all that kind of stuff that we talk about. So I'm gonna give this a 9. I just have so many good memories of the trip, and this kind of being off the cuff and deciding on Thursday or something. I remember I had a friend at the time who was from Buffalo that I was working with, and I went up to him like, Eddie, I'm going to Buffalo this weekend. I'm going to Buffalo. And he's like, where did this come from? And I'm just like, I just wanted to see Pearl Jam really bad. So he told me all the wing places to go. I don't think
was this your friend Eddie, who's a surfer and worked at a gas station?
Yeah, and he also used to valet cars.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then one time,
big Chili Peppers fan, I heard.
One time he got this demo from this dude that played drums. I don't know what happened after that though.
Yeah,
never heard from him again.
Never heard from him again. Lost to history, I guess. We'll have to look him up.
Yeah, Eddie, if you're out there, let us know. Live on fourlegspodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, this was a really good show. Being there, I can't give it a 10. It wasn't my favorite show, but it's in the top 10 of the 20. I would say it's probably like number 6 or number 7. Again, it changed my mind on a lot of songs, or it just enhanced a lot of songs for me, like Immortality, I Got Shit, Off He Goes, songs that might not have been on my radar as much, really popped on this night for me. So
Nice.
that's what I take from it.
That's definitely worthwhile. Made you a better fan.
I try to strive to do that every single day, John. You know how difficult it is with all the better fans out there than I? We've dad joked enough for today. I think time has come for us to give this a goodbye. Again, follow us on social media. We're on all the social medias. Facebook, we're very active on. Instagram, active enough. Twitter, we're starting to do a little better on. I think we're both manning the Twitter account now. So
Yeah, and stay tuned for trivia tonight on our Facebook page.
yeah, trivia. Trivia's always fun. Trivia's always good. We always get a really good turnout for it. So I know some of you actually have notifications on your phone that tell you you said
That's smart because sometimes we get lazy and pick an easy one, and you might be able to pop right in there and win.
exactly. We know that Dave won a couple weeks ago by doing that. Dave Robles.
Sure did. Yeah.
So
Nice job. Congratulations, Tim.
8:00 every Wednesday. If not
8 o'clock,
then
8 o'clock Eastern, we should say.
Eastern. That's right. So 5:00 for you West Coastians out there. Do we want to tell them what we're going to do next week?
Let's do it. Why not?
All right. So next week, John is going to take an absence from the show for a little while, actually. Buckley's going to come on the show, and we're going to do finish up the MSG series, number 8 of 10 next week.
It might be the best one.
It's the big one, man. It's MSG Night 2 2010. Oh, man. I'm so excited to do it. I got so much to talk about. I'm glad this was a shorter episode this week, because next week we might just be going on for hours and hours and hours, because there's so much to do.
The first 24-hour live on 4 legs.
We can do it. You want us to do it, we can do it. We can do a telethon. Get Jerry Lewis out there. We'll do it, damn it.
Maybe I'll have to come back and tell jokes for a while.
We get on all the old guests.
I can filibuster by reading the Pearl Jam 20 book.
Holy shit, a Pearl Jam fan telethon? That would kick ass. That would be awesome. We do it. We can, I don't know, do it on Twitch or whatever that streaming network is.
I'll break out my acoustic bass and do a 30-minute version of I'm Open.
You and Matt should do a little dueling bass.
Maybe. Stay tuned for that.
There's some ideas we got here. And
Patreon.com/live on 4 legs. $1 a month.
If you contribute, then we can get that much closer
to
doing our telethon.
And we can do we can show the whole Randy Palooza.
Yeah,
that can take up a whole couple hours.
Yeah. There's some stuff here.
I love this idea. There's
some stuff here. Yeah, I think we have to get with some charities and make this happen. Oh man, this is good. I know we come up with a lot of ideas for the show that there's so much time that we can even do episodes, but oh boy, I want to do this now. I'm excited. All right, we might as well go before we come up with some other bad ideas and get ourselves in trouble. So this is the end. We're here, but not for much longer. And although we may be parting ways, I miss you already. I miss you always. For Randy, for John, and for Buffalo and all you Buffalonians and Buffalo-lites out there, we will see you next time.
Bison.
We're all wasted!